earn an honest day's living because the economy is not agreeing with us. And the answer we get from finance is look at GDP. And I keep telling my good friend, the Honorable Bahati, when we debate these things in the media, the few times I've debated with him, I've said, Honorable Bahati, me as a Muntu Wawansi, I prefer to discuss tomato economics. Tomato economics is simple. Yesterday a tomato was, this morning when I was leaving home, my cousin whom I live with said, by the way, you need to know, the price of passion fruits has gone up. Now we are getting 4 for 1,000. Because every time I go back, I said, yes. Every time I go back, I said, but yesterday you told me money for fruits. Now today you are telling me money for fruits. So today she won me, said, you are going, you know. In other words, Mukulu, the economy is bad. That is the way for us we debate it. Now, and how do we get here?
That's the right way.
Yes, how do we get here? We get here because the president goes and gives out $500 million and, if Honorable Semaju is right, promises another $1 billion without a formula. This is the money that we are borrowing, and then we are doing budgets that have how many trillion to service debt. This is why, for me, the economy doesn't make sense. And I just, our dear friend, Marianne Namfka has made a very critical observation. You have this picture of the president giving a thumbs up and no one waving back. When I saw someone on Twitter posted a mammoth crowd, it didn't seem to me like the crowds of the Yoweri Museveni I saw in '96. What does that tell you?
Possibly because it was in the city and
yeah, but you see,
blocked off the roads. If been in
for good measure, you allow Dr. Besje to put a crowd.
Money, really. At least I never saw a coin. Maybe I was excluded.
Because you're part of his campaign. So
maybe I was excluded.
Finish off, Robert.
So my point is this: the giving of money for me signals 3 things. 1, a complete mismatch between resources and priorities. And here is where I agree with Honorable Semujung and Uganda's problem, and I have said this to Honorable Bahati. Uganda's problem is not money. Instead of taxing us, OTT, mobile money tax, what, rearrange the priorities. The money is there. In fact, the other day the president was quoted, I think we're in Rukunjiri as saying, you people, there's so much money in your government, you just don't know how to get it. The money is there.
Okay.
But don't give it out in circles. Number 2, if we are going to spend money, let us have some sort of connection between fiscal and monetary policy, because these things have real implications. Those of us who go to try and do business development outside this country, when you are sitting in a boardroom in London and people tell you, but really, is it true that in your country they give money on the street? These are serious lawyers in London. And you sit there and you actually look like a fool because you have to answer the question. And the only correct answer is yes. And the guy is saying, so how does that work? And it is painful.
So, those London boardrooms. So, you said you discussed nyanya and mutunda.
No, what do you do if the price of passion fruits has gone up? You go and look for money.
In single pieces.
Omuntu Wawansi has to look for money in every means possible. So I think there's a problem there. I strongly urge that this method be rethought.
As you come in, there's a tweet or good to Ivan George says, Ganges, whenever we talk about 56 years of independence and someone says 40% water connection in rural areas, what a shame. Come to Namayingo, Busia and make new research on some issues before you openly say anything positive.
What I want to respond to Goto is that some progress is being made even in Namayingo. Namayingo was a place we used to call Back of Beyond. Yes, where Kiruna here comes from, in Busoga, when I was studying in Busoga in 1979, where Kirunda comes from, Kusembatia, was back of Beyond. Was back of Beyond. And because
actually, Namakoba,
yes, Namtumba was back of Beyond. Now, and that leads me to responding to Kirunda's allegation that in 1991, I'd left university. I'd left university 4 years of 6 years earlier.
In 90?
that election of Noble Mayombo and the Honorable Norbert Mao, that time politics was still based on ideology and organization. In 1990, first of all, there was no money to go around in Uganda. There was no money. So you are telling a lie. I was coming, you know.
He has told you what they say.
Me, I've told you the legend in Makere.
I was coming. Legends are usually hearsays. I was already out of university.
So even for you, it's hearsay.
No, I participated because I was participating from the outside as an ideologue.
That means there was money.
Yes, I was. No, I am telling you. I am telling you.
If you had external sources, there was money.
No, I am telling you, we were doing ideological work in Makerere and
other. That was facilitating.
No.
For good measure.
We were ideologically.
Let's resolve this one this way.
So
just
that time.
I don't like to interstate, but let's resolve it this way. I can undertake on air. I am going to go and speak to the Honorable Norbert Mao. Get the story from the horse's mouth. I know that Norbert Mao will not lie. And I will broadcast it in the whole world.
I am telling you.
Who was a student?
Money. Listen, I am telling you that money in politics and money in elections first surfaced in a significant way in our politics in CA election. So there was no money.
But now,
that was too much money.
Yeah, there was no money.
Fast forward
let me come to the
right now.
Let me come to the presidential tours. First of all, it is the constitutional duty of the president to mobilize Ugandans politically, mobilize them to rally to accept public policy measures. So all
that's not in the constitution.
So all the work of the president is geared towards mobilizing Ugandans, whether they agree with him in his political organization or not, to rally them to support public policy measures that will lead to enhancement of quality of life in Uganda. Secondly, if in the process of doing so, some of those Ugandans agree to join his political bandwagon, his political organization, that would be good. But even if they don't, as long as they embrace the public policy measures that will enhance their individual welfare, I think he would have achieved a goal. This particular company, there is no single week I know of, no single month I know of, that the president of Uganda has not made groups, has not gone out for public outreaches. I don't know any single month the president hasn't done so. And I don't know any single month where the president has not made a pledge, has not made a promise, or even fulfilled. Sometimes it is physical cash, which many of us disagree with. In a modern economy, we think the president should be, yes, he can give children who are dancing, old people who are dancing, can give them little money. But in the modern, I think we should be doing better. We should engage the president. And I think over the last 3 years or so, we are seeing that there is not a very marked difference, but there is a little bit of a shift, that the president no longer gives actual physical cash. Listen, I am telling you, why
we just said,
the president,
that's what I did.
The president in the recent past has been giving checks. All his handlers have been giving checks. I think that is a bit of positive development. We need to engage him further to say, Mr. President, even the checks, even the way these groups are identified. I fully associate with what Semuju has said, that sometimes we who work for him don't identify the groups properly. We don't tell the people, we don't even know what these people want to do. And consequently, some of the interventions being made are not giving the desired results at a faster rate. I think we need to go back and take that. And so, in that respect, we need more engagement with the president, we need more engagement with the government. How do we make these interventions to have positive outcomes? Now, that said, the visit by the president, this particular last tour, this ongoing tour in Kampala, first of all, had 3 legs. One, that common outreach, but secondly, you know, there has been fear, propaganda that downtown is no-go area. I think part of the president's mission was to build confidence in the public that this downtown, apart from coming there to listen to you, to listen to the grievances, and when you read what the people are telling the president, there are things that local leaders should have attended to. For example, the people there were complaining about high-handedness in the way rent is charged, rent is collected. They are complaining about terms and conditions of rentals. I have paid for a shop or an apartment, but I'm also paying hourly charges for a toilet each time I visit a toilet. That's the kind of stories people are telling the president. Now, those are things that
Private property.
yes, private property. I'm saying the president, in the course of doing this outreach, people are telling him things that the things that should have been attended to by LC1, by Kampala City Council Authority, or even by Kasita. Now that the local authorities didn't, and this matter has reached the president had this engagement and made a number of commitments to the people there. The other one is really to give confidence that downtown can be safe, is safe to live in, to do business. Three, to put his weight that the complaints you have raised, I am going to escalate it with the concerned authorities, and he hopes, and I'm sure he's going to make that directive, that things will be rearranged quite soon. And one particular example, one particular issue he handled there was, he said, when we did decentralization, KCC was given the authority to manage markets. Along the way, we did privatization, liberalization, and so on and so forth. KCC at that time chose to sell off, outright sell of market properties to individuals. Consequently, the Omuntu of Kirunda, who initially thought that a public market should be there for people who are going for startups, new people who want to join new commercial activities, is no longer available to them. And the president said, maybe we need to have a look again at government
has been buying markets.
Buying back public market. But it hasn't been successful.
In the case of security,
yes,
the president went downtown, and when you say showed that it is secure, let me tell you how he went. Some roads were closed off. The army came to the street. There were snipers on top of buildings, and so I do not know where you get the idea that was an impression of being safe.
Oscar, when you don't expect the president just because he wants to demonstrate.
Exactly.
That security was
exactly.
That security was for the person of the president who was there.
So don't
in
this
studio, Capital Radio here, this premise we are in. Don't you see that there's a perimeter wall? Don't you see that there is a gate? Don't you say that there is a security officer?
Yes.
But even
so
then,
never say even
then, when Ofwono comes here, Ofwono comes with security personnel accompanying him. That does not mean that capital area, Kisementi area, Cooper 1 Road is insecure. So it
means that Uganda is insecure. You need extra security.
No. First of all, the issue is there is security concern in Kampala. If the president has chosen to say, I can visit to demonstrate that this place is reachable, what else would you want the president to do?
I think
to stay away?
You got it wrong.
No. It is you. It is
Anyone
you.
who
That,
comes
it is
with
you.
those blue tanks
It
and,
is you that
and
He didn't get it
SFC
at all.
and everything.
It is you.
To say
it
he
is-
got it wrong is that
it is you who
he
doesn't
didn't get it
understand.
at all.
It is you who doesn't understand.
From the ones you've submitted, you remove that.
Yeah, it is you. It is you who doesn't understand.
Yeah.
The president.
I have
One
to
of the roles
understand.
of the president is to give the public confidence that Uganda is secure, even when we are facing security challenges.
And so he comes with snipers and whatever. And
Well,
so I do not feel that he will make.
if you
Well,
don't feel
we've-
so.
You and Beranga here, the only two people perhaps I know that do not move with the pickup. But all other people we've invited here, by the time we leave studio, the whole place is surrounded. Even Chris came here,
Some
the
are also
whole,
now
this whole
moving
Acacia
in
Mall was
those
totally
pickups
surrounded.
themselves.
And then
Well,
Chris told us that
But
we are very
was the
safe.
police parked on the other.
Yes, I mean, those deployments, for example, so some of those deployments
Honorable Semuju, you were away. Chris came here and you
are
answered.
deployments.
here that day.
Oh,
No,
let me
but
tell
they are
Semuju.
deployments of
Here, let me tell Semuju.
specific threats.
So Chris
Are you
was,
saying you want
came
to
visited
threat?
on gang, wanted to give some urgent
Just
information.
because you want to make
But
a-
and he said Uganda is safe. But by the time we left the studio,
I thought they
the
had
whole
actually come to
place
fix
was
someone.
surrounded,
Let
and it was
me address
insecure.
this point. Let me address this point.
And then he was saying that Uganda is very
Oh,
secure
Oscar, 1 second. Let me just address what Owa said in two
on
sentences.
security.
On security and the money. One, how did we get to the point where downtown suddenly needs the whole president to reassure people? So the facts as I understand them are these. One, they sent the UPDF there and they beat up journalists on live camera. Don't do that. No one will feel unsafe. Two, some politicians go down there and the crowds come up. What are the people saying? I believe that many people following Bobby Wine are not following him because they like what he's saying. People are just expressing their whatever sentiment it
How
is.
come you won't follow him?
No. That's another
doesn't
matter.
follow anyone.
That's another matter. Me, I
Well,
told you.
how do you know he
Go
doesn't
and
follow
read go and read the man for all seasons. I'm the boatman. I'll be here to tell the story when the book is over.
Moses Ferhanga.
You see, but
Your
the second
contribution.
thing is my response to all these debates about the economy and money is simple. Fix the economy, let the economy work for everyone.
Okay.
These things are
Yeah.
necessary
Robert, let's
giving
give
away money.
Moses
No
time
country
to
where
We'll
they
go
can
away.
do that to everyone
Moses,
except
as
us.
you come onto the
And no way.
microphone, there's a question you didn't answer. So, first one, are you the one who's advised the president to become a money bags judge? That's the question. I'd like a yes or no on that one. And then two, who is
He's one
that
of the
speech writer?
advisors.
Because when he goes around, he also gives speeches. We want to find out, is Moses Ferhanga the one telling President Museveni to go out and give bags of money personally? We also want to find out who is writing Jaja's speech when he goes out there and speaks to the people.
Thank you, but
Maybe I could say three, the one who advised him to go downtown.
thank you, Oscar. Now,
Start with these ones, then you make
I'll
us-
come to those.
You start with
To those.
You shall
these
forget.
were yes or no questions.
I'll come to those
So, are you
in
the
the process.
advisor?
In the process,
Okay.
you see,
I'll re-ask.
somebody else, I think Semuju said, getting involved with some of these people doesn't help. Maybe yes, maybe no. My figure is different. Yes, an incident in Nigeria could not have maybe had an impact immediately, but sometimes with time, they get a very big impact. Let me give an example. In 2001, when West first came on the political scene as a candidate, she had been there in other capacities as a national political commissioner and so forth. We lost Kampala at presidential elections by 10,000 votes. In 2006, when he was he was also a candidate, we lost Kampala to him by 70,000 votes. After that, we saw what was required, did some interventions in the slum areas of Kampala. It's through economic empowerment
In the slums.
in the slum areas of Kampala, providing them with water. You know, those people in the slum areas didn't have clean water.
And now they do.
Now they do. We provided about 3,500 public taps in those areas. I spearheaded that move, working with then Dr. Muhaire, who was at the National Water as head. We provided them with water. We provided them through NATS then with the with broilers, broiler chickens, which we gave out to people as economic empowerment. And come 2011, then also in the markets, giving them some capital, which we did, working with the border groups and so forth, which we did. Come to 2011, we lost Kampala by 3,800 votes. From 70,000, 3,800 votes. So
Complete last year.
wait. 2016 we didn't do those interventions. It was
What
bad.
happened to those that you did?
So, but the population of Kampala is a changing population. It's a new. You see, somebody you have given, we have dealt with today, is a different person. In any case, even when the movement loses Kampala, among the highest votes you get for President Museveni, if you categorize district by district, Kampala is still among the best. Like last year, I think the district that had the highest votes was Kivale, followed by Wakiso, if I'm not mistaken, followed by another district in the west, followed by Kampala at number 4. So you might think you have lost Kampala, but when you get 150,000 votes in Kampala, with maybe 40% or 30%, you go to Tororo, you might win Tororo with 60,000 votes and get 70%, but Kampala, you got 150,000. In Wakiso, you get 180,000, which may not get anywhere else. So, you might think, after all, they have lost it, but we get a lot of votes here. But in the 26, with those 2011, with those interventions, we changed Kampala completely. And I can assure you, with these interventions the president is doing, for you can go and laugh about it. I see the concurrency of 2011 happening again, changing Kampala. Because as Chironda said, the people supporting Bobi Wine don't support him ideologically. It's a protest.
They support Museveni ideologically.
No, it's a protest against us in government. That maybe you haven't done ABCD for me. I need some income, I need ABCD. And indeed, let's face it. Yesterday I was talking to someone, a colleague.
And then when you come and tell them we have so many kilometers of road,
Sure.
angry.
You are sure. For them, they're not seeing those roads because somebody living in Honam Samuju's constituency, and you tell him I've done a road to Moroto, to where they might see, but
You tell
where?
him tomato economics.
Yes, that's what we are doing. So, I know they work, and they will work. The issues they were raising, like yesterday, I traveled with the president yesterday. We went to 6 different areas at Nakasero Market, at the Oil Tax Park, in Ofwono, at the Old Bus Park, at
How were you choosing people?
at Kiseka Market, at the new tax
How
park.
did you choose the people to engage with?
The people already there, if it's an Naxoro market, the Naxoro market has vendors. So you're going to meet the vendors in Naxoro market. They already have market. If you go to there now, you don't find it empty. It has people all the time, 24 hours. In fact, even though you wait at night, you'll find them there. Now, some of the issues they were raising, you realize, and you have known them before, that some of these same Jews who are in opposition, and they just ride on people's minds, and they just get voted into parliament, but they don't do much for them. But for them, you're not an MP for Kampala, so I can excuse you.
No, you don't have to.
Wait, let me
What should
complete
an
my point.
MP do,
Wait
Moses?
for my point. See, somebody comes and tells you that, yes, this is a public building, we're in an arcade. We are made to, every time you visit the toilet, you are made to pay 300 shillings. Yes, a private property. But when you go to Oasis Mall, to all the other mall other malls in Kampala, and you go to a public facility, a toilet, you're not paying money. Now, under the license they get to, and the certificate of occupancy for that building, they are supposed to provide free toilet services. But people have been taking advantage of them. Somebody listen. Now, Kirunda here is a lawyer. Even yesterday, the president called upon Musisi, come and tell us. He said, no, under the arrangement KCC has with these arcade owners, in accordance with the terms under which they get the license to operate, even to build, to approve the plans, you must have a public toilet on every floor, which should be used free by the people running those shops and those who come to buy in those shops. Like you go to other malls.
Oh, yeah.
But these people have been charging them. But then you say, but the MP who represents these people, because an MP, I believe, is supposed to listen
To enforce
the
cases.
no, to listen to the concerns of the people. If KCCA is not doing what it's supposed to do, and an MP for Kampala Central or any part of Kampala, and my people are suffering, have this suffering, it is my responsibility to take it upon with KCCA to ensure that they enforce. If they don't enforce, now the people have enough left the MPs and told the president, and the president, this thing is going to be enforced from today. Now, the other thing is simple. Electricity. You know, the landlords in most of these buildings, they charge per bulb 100,000 shillings a month per bulb. I've known this. When we inquired from Umeme, they gave us the calculation, a bulb of 20 watts or 40 watts. None would cost, at maximum, if you put it on at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. in the morning and close at 6 p.m. in the evening, they made their calculation of how much power is used, is consumed. A bulb of 20 watts would consume power, including VAT, worth about 8,000 shillings a month. But these are people where they're being charged 100,000 per month for one bulb. So a shop with 4 bulbs, they are paying about like 400,000 to the landlord. It's the landlord now who goes and pays so less to Umeme, and they make money out of it. So, and then you say, and then these people you say, are they represented by an MP?
I'm so worried that you've got our president to go around the city to talk about toilets.
The president is elected as a president to address
has a done.
In private properties.
Wait. The president,
Because
Oscar.
I've just seen a killing to make there. I'm going to
Oscar.
have my own building, and each bulb will
Oscar.
go at 20,000.
Oscar.
Okay,
The
you can make
president
good money
is
there.
elected as a president.
There are big things they want to talk
Address
about. The
The
tax.
concerns of Ugandans. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but they
So
must
these
think-
people are Ugandans. They have their concerns,
So for
and
this,
when
yesterday, were you the advisor?
I'm always the advisor. So
Right.
these things are going to be done now. We had even the Minister for Energy there. You remember people, they are supposed to put a Yaka meter in each and every shop, so that the shopkeepers who are running the shops, if they put Yaka in my house, the arrangement that I pay for that
The
Yaka.
one ordered by the president.
Yes. In any case, in any case, haven't you heard Umeme has announced before
Moses,
that
finally.
for this
Some
time?
interesting laws.
Moses,
No.
Finally,
No.
Finally finish.
No,
And you have your microphone.
Wait.
Finally, I need to.
I have Yaka in my house. The Yaka, they came, I signed some things, and then they sold it.
I have your castle. I invited them.
So this time, these people have been inviting them, but the landlords have been refusing them to do so. Now we are going to put
And
there
what?
a Yaka in those houses, in those shops, so that the shop owners, the who run the shops, not the owners of the building, pay for their own power directly to Umeme. The landlords have now been licensed by Umeme to collect money on its behalf, and that's to the end. Now, if you think those things don't work, they were raising issues of tax, of some issues. You go to, they pay taxes, like the importers, like those people in arcades. After they have left Nakawa, somebody comes and says, when UNBS and says, these things for which you have to pay taxes, they are substandard. Then somebody says, but why did I have to pay taxes if they were substandard? So there are some inconsistencies in doing things.
And the president
Doing
of
things.
Rwanda knew. You know, many times he was good